Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to TokiTV, our gathering each and every week for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. We have quite the show for you today, speaking of shows, because we're featuring some videos from an event that was held this past Friday and Saturday, titled Bring Tokite Home, Honoring Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut and Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. This was held at the Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. Did I say that right, Deb? And by the choir of the Salish Sea. And so we're going to be showing videos from that. You guys are in for a treat. Let's do some real quick hellos and then we'll get ourselves grounded. So Alejandro.
Hello, everybody. I am at home. I was thinking of Toki today, and you get me here. Just, I want to thanks to Reynel to join us today. Like always, praying to the ancestors and Salish James. Thanks for supporting. I'm giving energy to Reynel to continue with this amazing cause, and we're gonna bring Tokitai back home this year.
Thanks, Alejandro. And we are very blessed to have Reynel with us today, and we're going to hear lots from her. Thank goodness. Howard, how are you?
I echo what Alejandro said. It was beautiful, and I am so thankful to see everybody. I'm glad everybody is doing well, and I'm really looking forward to this program today. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there. I'm just too far away right now, but I am looking forward to feeling the choir. Once people start to sing or pray about Toki, they feel her essence, and this spirit comes in and takes over. And I want to see how that came out. So I'm looking forward to the program.
Awesome, thank you. And real quick, Christina.
Wow, Howard, you said it all, but I'm happy to be here with all you beautiful souls on the screen and off. Excited to hear the music. It sounds like it's going to be very moving.
Deborah?
Again, I third what Howard said, the magic of music and singing. And having been honored enough to watch the concert live, I can tell you she was in there big and large, and she was soaking it up. So get ready to enjoy, friends.
Awesome. Deb Cruz?
Sunshine.
Yay! I love that. So our very special guest right now. Sorry, and I've been watching these because I'm editing them, and wow, you guys. So just to heads everyone up, this is not going to be over in an hour. I want you to know that. So at TokiTV, we kind of do what we want when we want. So I thought today's going to go plan on about an hour and a half. Right now, before we get ourselves centered, because I do want to do that by playing the flood song. Quick hello from you.
Well, I'm just honored to be here, and the experience of telling her story and then having it, interpreted through the music is something that I've not done in a Western way. Of course, we do that with, the cultural tribal songs are connected to the words, but this was really beautiful to share it with a new group of people that were so engaged and so lovely. And I just have to do a Haishka to Deb and Joe, her husband. They were there, both performances, supporting me, making sure I got to the podium safely. And just the love and support is everything. Haishka, Deb, and share it with Joe.
I will. It was our honor, sister. It was our honor.
Awesome. Let's get ourselves centered, guys. So if everyone feels comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And everyone do your own deep breathing. One of the things we do here is we do our orca breaths, but we take long, slow, deep breaths in, hold them, and then release them. So if you feel comfortable doing that while we listen to the Lummi National Anthem. Thank you. I'm going to try to unmute everyone's mics here in case they want to say something. You guys will have to forgive me. I'm just getting over being a little bit sick, and so today is the first day I put on real clothes, and so I'm a little slow going, but I'm going to try to keep up with everything because we have lots of videos to load and all of that. And as Raynell mentioned, the way that they did this was that I'm going to kind of follow the program, and I want to give a big Haishka also to Deborah for the videos you guys are going to see, because Deborah not only was there to support Raynell, she was also there to make sure that all of you at home get to participate in what occurred. And so you're going to get a front row seat, literally. And so the view you see will be like if you're sitting in the seat there. So yes, you might see a podium in your way, on some of them, and that's okay because it's going to give you the real live experience. And so one of the first things they did when they talked the welcome. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm kind of all over the place. But they start and they sang some songs, and then they heard from Squil-le-he-le, and then they sang some songs. And so to not have a 3-hour show, Raynell chose a few of the songs to share. But I think we're going to start in order here, and where they talk about Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut to capture.
This is important that we're aware of what has happened in the past. Doesn't mean we're going to stay there, but it's important to understand what we've done as a people, to other people, to the earth, to people's spirits. And it happened to our Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. In the Lakhtamish culture, we have a belief, it's called the Shakya, which is the web of life, that everything is connected, and that you can't interfere with one strand without affecting the whole. On August 8th, 1970, the web of life for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, the Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, the Lakhtamish people, was broken. It was just brutal what they did to the whale people. In 1970, Washington State didn't have any regulations or any laws that impacted hunting and capturing orcas. So it was a real free-for-all. And in the 1970s and a few years prior to that, the world, the globe, was looking at orcas as attractions in aquariums from Japan, Russia, Mexico, Chile, United States, everywhere. So young orcas in particular were desirable because they were easier to transport, they were easier to train. So that was their target, the babies, the young ones. So on this day, there were two men in Washington that put together a hunting and capture team. They were very successful at it. This August 8, 1970 was not the first one, and it wasn't the last one. The one gentleman was a commercial fisher. He was good with the purse seiner, with the nets and reading the ties and the crew, and all of that goes along with it. The other gentleman was skilled at locating fish, locating orcas. So they were the perfect team to be the orca hunters and capturers. So they were assembling their team that summer. But on August 8th, they did this by pilot plane, speedboats, harpoon guns, tranquilizer darts, sea bombs, a spotter plane above Whidbey Island saw the super pod. The super pod is all 100 at that time, southern resident killer whales from the J, K, and L pods. We call it, when we gather, a potlatch. When our family gets together and we eat and we sing songs and we dance and we frolic. The pathologian mirrored that. That's what they were doing that day. They had all gathered, all 3 pods, all 100, until the spotter plane radioed down and the speedboats zoomed in. And Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut are smart. This wasn't the first raid on their families, so they knew they were after the young. So as a tactical move, the 100 split. The moms and the babies went one way, focused toward heading out to the passage to the sea, to freedom. The others wanted to detour and attract the hunters to bring them with them. That worked for a little bit, but they were also keen. And they caught on and they radioed ahead and they blocked the passage to the open waters. So the mothers and the babies had no options but to turn back. They had nowhere to go. So the speedboats and the seal bombs were put in the water, one after another, because the sound is amplified underwater. That sound travels 10 miles. It frightens, it disorientates them, and that's what they want. They want them to be more guidable, to not fight as much, to just follow their lead. So the speedboats and the seal bombs led them back, had them turn around. They were headed into Pen Cove. The seiner, with his big net and his crew, started circling the mothers and the babies as they entered the cove, creating a net pin, so to speak, to keep them in. The screams started. Those that witnessed this said the black and yellow heads were bubbling in the water, in the net and outside of the net. Screams. They were calling to their family. They were calling to their babies. The babies didn't know what was going on. They were afraid. They were frightened. They just wanted their moms because that's all they'd known. So after the net pin was put in place, they started identifying which ones they wanted to keep and take. And this was a very brutal, harsh gathering. 4 babies ended up dying. They were in the net enclosure. They were trying to get to their moms. They got tangled in the net and drowned. One adult outside of the closure was trying to get her family out, and she got tangled and died, drowned. So they identified 7 young orcas, all from the El Pocket, all babies. Their mothers and their family wouldn't leave them. The cries continued. The struggle continued. When the whale hunters identified that there were 4 babies drowned, they slit their bellies, filled them with rocks, put chains around them, and sunk their bodies. They couldn't even return to their families because the whale hunters didn't want the public to know, didn't want the state of Washington, who issued the permit, to know that it wasn't just 7 that they took. There were 5 more. So you can see this industry was about money. Then the young orcas were going for about $20,000 a piece. And because we're in Coast Salish territory, many of our sister tribes, including Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, all look at Pavalman as sacred beings and as family. We were not aware that permits were issued to hunt and capture our family. for $20,000 apiece. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut was one of the 7. And they kept him there, and they tried to keep him calm because they didn't want to injure them, because that would cost money, antibiotics, vet care, concerns to the, the part that's buying them. It wasn't about their pain or their separation from their family. And so then what they did is they tried to, these 7 young orcas, including our Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, and they put him in canvas slings. They put him in a truck, and they trucked him to Seattle Aquarium, to holding tanks, where they were sedated, where they were given antibiotics, and they were supposed to, acclimate to their new surroundings. Later that evening in Penn Cove, the other group of Cothalmichan returned. The hunters circled them with a net as well, but because they'd already gotten their permit quota, they let them go. But their family, they stuck together. They came back to support one another. This is who they are. She was sold to Miami Sea Aquarium. That's what happened to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut.
I know that's so hard to hear, and something about that is harder to hear coming from you, Squil-le-he-le. And so I watched that about 8 times while I was editing it, and every time. But I just want to remind folks that it's there's a quote, and I don't know who said it. Someone could look it up. You can't heal what you don't acknowledge. And I think it's important to say that here, because as Squil-le-he-le said at the beginning, it's not to stay here, but that's the beginning of this. And this did happen to her. So it's important for us to acknowledge that. We can take that in many places to show how courageous she is. We can, but this is what happened. This is what happened. All right, let's go on to the next portion of Toki going to Miami.
Journey continues. September 24th, 1970, she arrives at Miami Sea Aquarium. It's 88 degrees out. A lot warmer than where she's from, her home, where we're from, our home. Miami Sea Aquarium had thought that if they got a young female orca, they already had Hugo, who had been captured just outside of Tacoma, Washington a year earlier in another roundup. And he was sold also to Miami Sea Aquarium. So he had already been there for a while in a small little tank before Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. She didn't do well when she got there. She wouldn't swim. She wouldn't eat the frozen herring. That wasn't her food. That wasn't her home. She was scared. She was traumatized. One of the employees is said to have written a report speaking to that. She's not swimming. She's not eating. I'm worried about her. She'll get used to it. Give her time. That's the care that she got when she needed help, love, and support. Soon after that, they moved Hugo to the Whale Stadium. A bit later, they moved Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut to the Whale Stadium. Hugo didn't have a very good disposition. Can you guess why? And that's what the trainers said about him. He's problematic. He's aggressive. He didn't like where he was. He wasn't treated well. He wasn't fed well. And so his behavior reflected how his heart was feeling. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut has always been strong, pure, spiritual, and magnificent. Right away, the trainers preferred to work with her because of those traits, because of who she was. They only performed together for a couple of years. They were trained to do behaviors and tricks, about 20 of them. Sometimes they would perform up to 4 times a day, all year. In the hot sun in Miami, no shade. And if they didn't feel like performing, or Hugo was aggressive, or she didn't pay attention, they were punished. What did they have to punish her with? Food. We'll show you, we'll teach you to behave, you won't eat. So they withheld food from them to get them to do their tricks. One of the tricks Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut was doing in the shows, and this is where they gave her a showgirl name, Lolita, because that was, really Broadway, really, festive. It was for her to jump airborne 20 feet in the air and rotate herself 3 times. The other trick that they loved was to have her float on her back, and her trainer and a dolphin would jump on her stomach and ride there. And if she didn't do that, she didn't get all her food. She did quite well. She did the best she could. Trainers have said, that they connected with her. She has a strong spirit. But Hugo couldn't be held in captivity. That wasn't how his life was going to be. After 10 years of performing together, he had finally committed suicide. He had been known in those 10 years to ram his head and his nose against the wall of the tank. And this time, he was successful, and he went on to be with his whale people, to be with the ancient ones. But Miami Seaquarium were more upset about the asset laws, the corporate laws. Now they had 1 whale. When they came and discovered Hugo had passed away, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut was seen bumping into Hugo. No matter his personality, that was still her companion. That was her grieving. Did they allow that? Oh no. We better move on, the show must go on. Let's get that crane in here, let's yank that dead whale out. Let's bring him to the Miami dump. And that's exactly what they did. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut began performing solo the next day. She had been reported at times after Hugo's passing of grieving, going up to the top, taking a breath, going down to the bottom of the pool, and just being there. Behavioral specialists with marine mammals said we believe that she was grieving. They also heard her crying at night. She did that for many years. Residents around the sea aquarium have reported hearing Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's cries. We believe they were her LPOD calls, that she was calling to her mother, calling to her family to see if they could hear her, if they knew where she was, because she didn't know where she was. No response for over 56 years. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut performed for her food, was punished by withholding food for not being a good girl. That was her life in Miami. Who could do that for 56 years? That isolation. I felt like when we had COVID and the pandemic was here, I'd gone to Miami and I caught COVID on the plane on the way back. And that was one of the first cases on my reservation. So they didn't know what to do for you other than let it run its course and send you to ER, all that kind of stuff. So I was isolated for 33 days. And I thought, oh, I can feel a little bit of her pain for being by herself, without family, without friends. She made millions for MSQ. She is still a corporate asset today. She is still in Miami today. That's her fancy showbiz Lolita life.
All right, let's pause there for a little bit. Right now, I'm going to unmute you.
Well, I do have to make a correction. She's 56 years old. She's been in Miami about 52 years. And somehow, when I was speaking, that just came out, and I know that was not correct. And through telling her story out loud, I felt her pain. I felt her mother's pain. So this was so real. Not like it was way back when, it was like it was happening to her and me and her mother and her family now.
Howard, I want to get your take so far. Is there anything you want to say before we move on with the program? I'm trying to keep it moving, but I also this is a lot, and so I just want to check in with everyone.
Well, I've never heard her story come so true as I just did listening to Raynell. I've researched and I've written her story too, but I've never told it. I've never heard it told the way you do, Raynell. And I so agree that when you do, you feel her. You feel her pain, her separation from her family, her missing her family, and her mother's pain at losing her young one. So beautifully told. Thank you, Haishka.
Alejandro.
Her story broke my heart since 2014. And what can I say is like we will not stop until she is finally going back home. It's terrible, you know. Many things were done in the past in the wrong way. So now it's time to fix this. You know, the captivity industry caused a huge damage, a big damage to these amazing creatures, to all the animals, because they belong in the wild, in the ocean. They were born in the ocean. So we will not stop until she finally goes back home. Like I said, every time I will keep repeating the same. Keep supporting the Lami people. Keep supporting this true process. Is the only one that will take Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut back home in 2023. There is a lot of hope to achieve this goal. And I'm waiting for this day to cry together, seeing TokiTV jumping in the plane to go back home. This day going to be a big celebration. Like Renel says, we need to put everything in order. Lolita arriving, TokiTV arriving to the Salish Sea, it will heal the Salish Sea. It will heal the Lami culture. So I'm so proud to be part of this campaign, and I feel so honored to be in. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alejandro. Christina, Deborah, Deb, you guys doing okay there? Yeah. Okay. All right. So one of the songs you guys are going to hear from the choir now, and Squil-le-he-le went through the program with me and chose two because, again, or else we'll be here for 3 hours. And I will share them, and I can keep posting them on our group and our page just so you guys have, a good feel for that. But for today, one of the songs Squil-le-he-le chose is Ave Maris Stella, and that's a Hail Star of the Sea. Do you want to say why you chose this one?
Well, because it's fitting. She is the star of the sea. And it's beautiful. It's a real tribute to her and to all the Quathalmachin. And they sung it in Latin. And it just was so fitting to where we were in the program to portray that mood, that feeling, as to what the audience had just heard.
Here we go.
The ancient Gregorian chant, Ave Maris Stella, is to Mary. It's the hymn to Mary as the Queen of the Sea. We will sing it in Latin. If we offered this prayer to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, it would be exquisitely appropriate for her situation now. I'm going to read a little of the Latin to you and then tell you what it means. Vita presta puram. Make our lives pure. Iter paratutum. Create a safe path for us. Ut videntes Iesum semper coletemur. That when we see you at last, we can be together always. Ave Maris Stella.
Ave Maris Stella, Dei Mater Alma, Atre semper viro, Feliceli porta, Feliceli porta, Feliceli porta. Ave Maris Stella, Dei Mater Alma, atque semper viro, Feliceli porta. Funda nos in pace, mutans de
Wow. Wow, I'm going to unmute some mics here for if anybody has some feedback. I do know that it was a packed house. I don't know if I've said that already. It was a packed house, and I'm not showing the entire because it's everybody's faces, and I have to get a whole lot of approvals for that. So from people, but wow, that was gorgeous.
Ooh, their hearts were in it.
They love her. You know, I talked to them, and thanked them and said just that, Howie. I said, your love, prayers, and faith came through in your music. And I said, this is such a good match because Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut loves music.
Mhm.
And I'm sure this is resonating over to her and to her family. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. It was gorgeous. Very moving.
It was a beautiful harmony. I love this. I would love to do something like this in Miami. We had to work on it.
Yeah.
We
We'll
will.
work on it. We'll work on it.
Yeah, we had to do. We must do it.
And it'll take lots of planning.
Yes. Yes, I am in. Call me in. Everything for Toki.
And I don't know if we mentioned, but they really were promoting. So this whole thing this weekend, Friday night and Saturday, sharing the information on the GoFundMe. And so I want to just take the opportunity to let you guys know I have put that in the chat there. There's a link there for the GoFundMe, which you'll see more about at the end and stuff. But I just want, while we're listening to her story in a different way, in a new way, and hearing these songs, the entire point that they did this for was to get her story out there, right? You can never have too much awareness and too much education for this and for fundraising because I'm just going to say that's still happening for her home, for her Let Me Talk. And so I put the link there. You guys can go there. There's a graphic, there's an animation, which you'll see at the end of the show today as well. But you guys spread that link. spread that wink and let's just show what we can do and spread this far and wide, and let's raise that money and get her home. So I just want to, I don't think I had said that yet. And Alejandro always tells you, keep donating, keep supporting.
Yes. I will share the link today again.
So we'll just blast that over. So that link I shared, feel free to copy it.
Yes.
And
yeah, if you can get involved, at least donate. It's very important to Toki because every single penny, every single cent goes to Toki time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I do want to make sure that we share that. And yes, guys, we are going to talk about the vet report. Maybe we'll have an intermission and do that. I don't know if you guys had an intermission or not, but let's next. Raynell's going to talk about in the program. It's called TokiTV is our sister. Do you want to say anything before I move on, Raynell, or is it okay to?
I do want to make one point of clarification. You know, in going through developing the remarks to match with the sections with the choir, it was overwhelming on what I needed to leave out because there just wasn't time and space to give a detailed accounting of each phase, all 4 phases of her life. So I did the best I could to try to pull out what would tell her story and create that understanding of what she experienced. So I did the best I could.
You did a wow. Yeah. All right, let's listen to the next part.
And now I want to share a little bit about her culture, my culture, so you can understand. A lot of people are confused when we refer to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut as our relative. Our late Chief Salish was my Upsala. He was my teacher, my guide, my spiritual advisor. And for decades, I had the privilege of working with him, of learning from him, listening to him, walking with him. We started knowing that we needed to acknowledge Squil-le-he-le, that we hear their cries, that we know what happened to them, that we know they're hungry. So our late Chief Salish agreed to go out on ceremonial feedings with us. We would take our tribal law enforcement boat out. We'd have loaded totes that are aerated to keep live Chinook until we got to the place that the chief said to the skipper, "Stop, this is it." And he would pray, we'd all pray together. Each live Chinook was taken out of the tote, prayed over, and offered to Squil-le-he-le. We went out 7 or 8 times. One of the times we did a memorial for J50, who was a little orca that we tried to save. The Lummi Nation worked with NOAA, the federal marine arm, and tried to feed her medicated salmon so she could recover and get well. And that went on for weeks, and we were unsuccessful. We weren't able to save her. But what was good is that a tribal government and a federal agency could have the common goal to save a young orca. That's what it was about. That was all it was about. And everybody's efforts and prayers went into doing that. So the next time we honored J50 and thanked him for his young life and apologized for the sacrifices that he had to make. Salish also, not just me, but in our community, taught our people, and he worked with our young school-age kids often, and would say, do you know why you're related to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut? Do you know who they are? And of course, nobody would say anything, you just look at him. And he said, they're your relative. They are your relatives that live under the waves. You have to honor and respect them because they were once people too. You have to honor and respect the land, the other animals, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged. Love and respect them because they're your relative too. They were people once too. Creator did that. So it's important that you know who your relatives are and do your best to respect and to take care of them. In July of 2019, we went on a cultural, spiritual ceremony out and ended on Henry Island with the late Chief Salish, the former chairman, a couple of other spiritual leaders, and myself. And we went to the beach, and I can't tell you everything about the ceremony, but I did get permission from him to share the part that was about me, because it's my story, so I can tell it. I was called to the fire, and I only know a few words of my language, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. I'm still learning and doing the best that I can. So when the fire is built, and Henry Island is like in a little cove, when the drums started, when the fire was blazing, the food was offered, heads and heads and heads of ancestors came. So many you couldn't even tell one head from another. And they were talking. Salish was talking to ancestors. And then they gestured me that I was being called to the fire. And I try, but I'm not always the best person. So when you're called, to the fire slowly, you know what you've done wrong, and you know they know what you've done wrong. So you're hoping it's a good thing. And it was. It was an honor, and I was humbled. What the ancestors told Salish, they were giving me the sacred obligation to heal the Salish Sea, to heal salmon, to heal Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. They said, you do that, and you will heal the people. But he said, we know this is the hard work. And then the chief started sweeping in front of me, and he told me to walk with him from the fire to the water's edge. And he cleared my path all the way to the water, and he said, ancestors told me to do that and to let you know. They're guiding you. They're clearing your path to do this work. And when you're giving a Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut a sacred obligation, you do everything that you can to follow that guidance, to be mindful, to be humble, to take their lead. And one of the places I go to ask for guidance is Squil-le-he-le. That's another sacred village site. I have a log there. Deborah knows my log. All my good friends, have been up to Squil-le-he-le, and we've prayed, we've done ceremony up there. It's sacred land, sacred water. And so with Salish's guidance and telling us that this is your relative, and we need to reunite her with her families as ancestors have told us. This is exactly what they did to our Indian children when the churches and the government took our children to Indian resident boarding schools. They stripped our children, their home, their family, their culture, their traditions, their language, to civilize them so that they could be all that they could be. It broke many of our people. Many of our young people didn't come home. They didn't survive. And Salish said that's exactly what they did to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. Took her from her family, took her from her home, stripped her of her language, stripped her of her culture, and isolated her so they could colonize her to be there, for her to be their way, so she could be all she could be. And we know now that's not the right way. We know now it's time for reconciliation, not just of our Indian children that survived and didn't survive Indian resident boarding schools. Because remember, Shakya, the web of life, you break and interrupt one strand, it affects the whole. That's what happened to the children. That's what's happened with Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. And I know from what they've told, Salish's past, he now walks with the ancestors, but he still reaches out, he still guides me. Other ancestors do. And they tell me they are clearing Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's path home. They say her Latinish culture is going to ready her spirit for her to make the journey home, and that we need to continue our prayer warriors, reaching out to other peoples to tell the story, to garner love and support and prayers for her, because it's not about one whale. It's about a people. It's about mankind and correcting what we've done wrong. It's possible. It will be. That's what they say. So be it. It will be.
Wow. Christina, I'm gonna check in with you.
Sorry. It's brutal. It's really brutal. So the way Raynell portrays it is just like she said, I'm like there, and it's just really brutal. So sorry. I'm just weepy. I'm okay though.
We have some healing to do, and I'm so grateful, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, that I've said this before. I've said it on the show. I've said it to you that you were chosen for this, because that connection, that energy around you is the same energy around her, and is the same energy with her family, and so we're blessed. So thank you for speaking up and for leading this, because she needs you, and it reminds me, there's something Joel James said at one point too. If you're in this conversation, it's because you're called to be here. It's a calling, right? And so for all of you on screen and all of you watching and all of you spreading, and like Raynell said in the what we just watched, keep spreading this, keep spreading the call for prayer, and we'll absolutely keep doing that and doing our part. Thank you. Alejandro.
Yeah, what Raynell said is every time she cries when she speaks about Tokita, everybody's crying with her, because we got the same feeling, How you feel is how I feel every time. And I know You have been chosen. You are the chosen one by the ancestors, by Salish. We will make this dream come true. We will bring TokiTV, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut back home. There's gonna be a big celebration. No more tears. No more tears.
Happy tears.
Happy tears only allowed.
Loads and loads of happy tears.
Yeah.
And also, like Raynell said, it will be. It will be. And
Yes.
let's pause for just a second, because I know some people are asking about the vet report, and so I don't think everyone's aware that the vet report did come out. I think there's a whole lot of good in there. Howard, I'm going to put it up on the screen, and then what do you want to say about the vet report?
Well, I just want to say this reaffirms Toki's spirit, her strength, her inner wellness, her wholeness. It comes out in this. Even though it's a vet's report, it's very technical. It goes into a lot of details about white blood cell counts and parameters, but through it all, I can feel Toki's strength and her spirit and her will to live, and her it feels like she has this connection with her family, with the ancestors that Raynell talks about. And when I hear Raynell talk about the ancestors clearing the path, I think we see it in this vet's report. The path is being cleared, and Raynell is showing us how it is being cleared, and the vets are confirming it from their language, their perspective, but they're seeing her and they're telling us she is well, she is whole, she is home, she will be home so soon.
Absolutely. And there's that huge turn in her story, right? Years and years of asking and praying, and then there's this shift, and we're about to kind of go into that. I'll check with Alejandro real quick, but you're going to hear the story start to shift now. Go ahead, Alejandro.
And you posted a few days ago. Listen, after the vet report was posted on Facebook. Listen, she's stronger than you can imagine.
Oh yes, yeah. I did a little
very
video.
strong.
I said stronger than you think. Because,
than you think. Yeah, you're right. You got it. Yeah.
Because she.
I agree with you. Uh-huh.
She is. Don't underestimate her.
Oh no.
We've heard that. All right, let's hear about. Let's start looking at that shift, you guys. Let's start looking at this shift.
I asked for decades from Miami Sea Aquarium, the previous owners, to go and pray and do the cultural ceremony with our relative. They've always said no, 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 no. Well, under the new owners, the Dolphin Company, Mr. Elbar invited me in October of 2022 to come pray and do cultural ceremony with my relative. I couldn't pack, I couldn't get a flight quick enough. And I invited another matriarch, my elder, Shirley Bob. She has strong spirit, strong faith. And I was guided to her and was told this would be good for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, it would be good for me, because I no longer had Salish. So I went and visited with Shirley and her family, told them about the work. They didn't know. Told them about my relationship, my Sk'aliCh'elh with Salish, and how I was grieving and lost without Salish. And would she help be that guide spiritually for me? She agreed. She went with me. The first prayer cultural ceremony, I think I said October, it was actually July 2022. It was Shirley and I. The Whale Stadium was closed at that point. They weren't allowing any visitors. So it was staff and Shirley and I. And it was awful. You could feel the grief. You could feel the forgotten spirits, the forgotten people there. But we went up to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. There's a half wall where she greets visitors and her trainers. And we went up there and we introduced ourselves and told her, we're your relative. We're Lak'tamish. You're Lak'tamish. We're here. We hear you. We know where you are. We know where you're from. We know your mother, Ocean Sun. She grieves for you. She's waiting for you to come home. And we're here to carry messages to you. I had my drum. I told her I'm gonna drum. This is your heartbeat. This is my heartbeat. This is your mother's heartbeat. This is the whale people's heartbeat. This is ancestors' heartbeat. And Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, the stadium is full. For you. And then, as ancestors are, they told me, quit talking, keep drumming. It's our time with her. So they delivered the messages, and she stayed right in front of me. She has such a powerful spirit. When she locks in with that eye on you, it's everything. And I just kept drumming, the messages kept coming, and she stayed right there. They kept coming from ancestors, from her people, from the whale people. There was also light energy. People like Deborah send messages because they love her, they worry about her, they want her home. So there were a lot of light energy messages to her. And just like that, they said that's enough for her. She had received them all. And I sat down. It was time for her to have a break so she could swim around because she had stayed right there. So we took a break, let time pass until it looked like she was ready. And one of the things we do as Lak'tamish people, when we want to cleanse someone's spirit in their body, is we use sacred cedar boughs. I had prayed to the cedar tree and clipped a couple of boughs and took them to Miami with me. We took those, and Shirley and I prayed over her, told her what we were doing. We were removing any hurt, any negativity, anything that shouldn't be on her. And we just kept sweeping her body with the cedar boughs, and she stayed right there. And we kept doing it until Shirley said that's enough. It was lighter. It looked like her sparkle was starting to come back somewhat from when it was when we got there. And then Shirley sang to her. She loved Shirley's songs. So being here to tell her story with the music, with the songs, is just right up Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's alley. She would love it. And there was one song in Lummi Chawson that Shirley sang to her. And again, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut stays right with you when you're working with her or talking to her. And Shirley was kind of doing this and singing. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's head started moving with Shirley. Shirley stopped, and Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's head went like that, and Shirley goes, "Oh, you want more? Okay." She sang another song. She welcomed the messages. She welcomed her relatives. It gave her hope. It helped her spirit to start healing, because she had been sick for quite a while, not doing good. An infection, they didn't know where, on antibiotics. Her, lab work was not good. So we believed that that was the reason we were called there to begin doing the cultural prayers and healing work over her. And we reached out to Mr. Elborg from the Dolphin Company and his staff on a Zoom call, because that's how we do things now, and raised my hands to him and told him what that meant. And it meant, thank you, love and respect. We got to begin the work with our relative she needed, we needed. We were invited back in October, and we did the exact same thing. Only this time when we walked into the Wells Stadium, she recognized us. And that's just everything. When she's like, oh, you're back, hello. We said, hello, my relative. We're here to pray and to do cultural work, to continue your spiritual journey and your healing. That wasn't it. I was invited back in December and went and did prayer and cultural ceremony with her, drummed, carried messages. And I had news for her. We had held a conference for stakeholders, the Friends of TokiTV, a Florida nonprofit, in December. And I told Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, Mr. Elborg announced and personally held my hand and told me, when USDA and with the vets clear her to go home, he will support it.
It's awesome. And the story changes, right? And starts to shift. I want to just say something. I always want to say something, but here's what I want to say. There's the science piece to all of this, and we have the experts, and we have the vets, and we have, the behavioralists, and there's this whole science to this. There's this whole, it's not an easy thing. But what's super important here is her culture. And someone can put me somewhere based on the fact that I'm human, but you don't know my family, And so bringing that culture piece is, to me, more important and first, and then everything else surrounding that. Because that's who I am. That's who she is. We're not just, an orca, and like Freddie said that one time, it's not blackfish. It's not, or this is, this is my family. And so bringing that piece to everyone, there's a lot of information about her capture and how long she's been there. And all of those things are very factual, but there's something missing from that. And that is who she is. And you're bringing that forward and sharing that by sharing who you are, sharing who she is, sharing that information with the vets, sharing that information with the people who are with her every day, so that they can see her for who she is and treat her that way. And she deserves that. So thank you right now. Thank you. On to more good. Should we talk about the journey home? Yeah. Christina's like, get on with it.
Can I make an addition?
Of course you can.
No, and I would like the people to understand that it's not about our feelings, our emotions. It's about Toki's health. If she's not ready, she will tell us when she's ready. People don't understand, and they are not patient. They must be patient, because we know her time has came, and Toki had the message received. So she's working on it. So we should be patient. She will let us know when she's ready to go back home.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right on, Alejandra, right on.
So awesome. All right, let's hear. This is going to be the last talk part from Raynell, and it's going to bring us up to speed on where we are today.
And here we are, not in her last chapter, but the best part for her life is yet to come. I am a vice president of the Sacred Lands Conservancy, a nonprofit that was formed several years ago. We knew this day would come. We knew our relative was coming home. We knew if we were going to be able to talk to federal, state agencies, to landowners in the Salish Sea, where we wanted her sanctuary, that we had to know what we were talking about. So several years ago, we did a fundraising campaign and we got donations. We got enough to fund what we call her living home. It's an operational plan that's a living document. It was created in partnership with the Whale Sanctuary Project, who are globally renowned experts in moving whales, relocating whales, freeing whales, and they are still our partner with Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. So we've been working together for quite a long time. But they were the right people to commission this operational plan so people would understand that we knew what it would take to bring her home. We knew what it would take to build her Lumi-talk. We knew what care she needed when she is here. Who were those people? What expertise did they need? We needed to take care of her medical, her health, and her spirit and her culture. So this plan addresses all of that A to Z. And if you want to see an animated diagram of what her Lumi-talk would look like and what the overview is of these, different components, you can go to sacredsea.org and see it there along with some other documents. But what this plan has allowed us to do is to be taken seriously when we reach out for partners, when we go to talk on behalf of our relative, that then they understood, I'm just not a Lumi elder that just wants to do good and pray a lot. It's about a lot more than that. It's about righting a wrong. It's about carrying out a sacred obligation. And that means sometimes you have to walk in both worlds, the Western world and your cultural world. This plan does that. And so we were contacted in February of 2022 by a very wealthy East Coast environmentalist, philanthropist. I don't want to say it wrong because then it sounds like the other one. But he wanted to do good and knew what and where he could step in with his resources. His name is Pritam Singh. He reached out to us and said, I think I can help you. One of my board members told me about the work that you're doing, and I care about the whale, and I think I can help. Can we talk? Can I tell you about my ideas? And when you're indigenous, you're not too excited about a lot of grandiose promises and, they can fix everything. They got all the answers, don't cut it. Money's nothing. So you go in with, that reservation. But we also know it's our job that when people want to help, that we do our part and we listen. And when we were done with that first Zoom call with Pritam, we knew he was the right partner. And we said, let us think about it, and we'll get back to you. This is a big decision on partnering with someone that can impact our relative's life, her future, her people's future, our future. So we ended the Zoom, we prayed on it, were given the guidance and said, we believe in him. We believe on what he's told us, and we indeed want him as our partner. So along with some other experts in the marine mammal industry, with Pritam Singh's leadership and his $1 million, we formed a nonprofit out of Florida called the Friends of TokiTV. What this nonprofit has been able to do with these partners, with this skill set, with this expertise, with these resources, was being able to partner with the mayor of Miami, who was responsible for the lease, the licensure transfer from the old owners to the new owners in March. She was an important stakeholder. Commissioner Regulato with the Board of Commissioners in Miami-Dade. Their Parks Division oversees that lease on that land. She was a stakeholder, she was a partner. The Dolphin Company, the new owners. We reached out to them and told them that we wanted to partner. We wanted to help them take the best care possible for our relative. Your staff, your corporate assets and resources don't need to pay for it. We will. We've been asking for decades for a third-party independent vet team just for her, because she has been ill all these years in Miami. They agreed. We got 2 expert vets, and now we get monthly vet reports on how she's doing and what else we need to do for her. So we got her own medical team. They're supporting her cultural and spiritual relationship with the Lakhtamish people by allowing and inviting us to come do prayer and ceremony with her. They've allowed improvements in her facilities, which hasn't been done in a long, long time, to improving her water quality, getting the right expert staff that can work with her. They call it enrichment, but that's behavioral work, to keep her emotions going in the right way, to see what makes her happy, to keep her engaged. Her enrichment's been expanded. We're going in the right way. And this nonprofit pulled together the stakeholders in Miami in December of nonprofits, organizations, citizens, government agencies, industry, the mayor of Miami, with the Dolphin Company CEO, Mr. Elgar, with Pritam Singh, with our vet partners, with us, to talk about what has happened to her in these 8 months. What progress has been made? What baselines have been created? Where are we going? What needs to happen with her? And that's when Mr. Elgar was so moved to make his commitment. If the USDA and her vets say she's good to go home, he supports her return home. And I went went to see her the next day on Mr. Elmore's invitation. And again, that sparkle, that eye contact, and I was going, I have such good news for you. Good news. And I told her about Mr. Elmore's commitment to her. And I said, it is ever so important, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, that you do everything possible to help heal your body, to heal your spirit. You need to ready your body and spirit for your journey home. She asked me to share that message with her mother and her family. So when I got back, our prayer warriors from TokiTV, we assembled up at Wichita and Cherry Point on January 3rd, 2023, to do ceremony and song and prayer that went over the waters out to Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, to her mother, Ocean Sun, who's waiting for her daughter. They're waiting for their sister, for their relative. And we told them, she is readying herself to come home. She wants you to know. And you know, with our weather here, it has been so affected with atmospheric rivers and all the climate change things. But that day, up at Wichita, the Spirit's creator, your God, whichever you call, you know, your spiritual leader, the rays were shining down on the water, on that land, on us. And it wasn't just spiritual, it wasn't just ancestors, it wasn't just our group. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, Superpod, gathered to the north, heard the prayers, heard the songs over the waters, headed to Wichita to let us know they received the message. They're prepared. They were grateful. And we were so humbled to be able to deliver good news to them. As I said, her mother is in her 90s. She's the matriarch of the LPOD, Ocean Sun. And Salik reminded me up at Wichita that ancestors told me around that fire and continued to send me that message in the Wells Stadium when I was praying with Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. What they did for you, Squil-le-he-le, they have been doing and are going to continue to do for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. Ancestors are clearing her path, and her Lakhtamish culture is readying her spirit for that journey home. And I did want to share, I checked in and wanted to share with you good people for spending a Friday night here with us, that the update on Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut is she's eating well, she's doing well, she's feeling good, she's interacting well with her team. So the blessings continue. Please help support her with her prayers and your good energy to her because she's coming home.
Yes, she's coming home.
Yes,
What do you think about that?
love it.
I don't trust you guys.
Alejandro.
I try to break the ice, you know. So much tears everywhere here, you know.
No, good stuff. Beautifully done to bring us
Yeah.
to where
We're
we
gonna
are.
bring Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut back home, 2023. Be positive.
I'd like to share for a second before we get ready to end this, because I think it's getting closer to the end.
We're getting close. We have Chairman Blair and then
Chairman.
another song.
I just wanted to real quick before the chairman comes on, and you'll see how the amazing way that all ties it all together when he showed up to support her and the tribe. My hashka to you right now, and I'm gonna get a little emotional about this as I share what I experienced on this weekend. I was taught by my Lakota friends and family that after ceremony, what's really important is how we walk and carry ourselves after ceremony. And you do that in a way that is so bright and so beautiful. And it is an honor to just be in your presence and watch you carry this torch, this light, what you do for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. And it doesn't do, the camera doesn't do it justice, friends, for everybody that's watching this secondhand through the phones and our computers. But had you been there and felt the energy of the ancestors in that sanctuary and the love and compassion and the light that shone out of you, Raynell, it was breathtaking. And everybody felt it. And I just wanted to say thank you for just being you and doing what you do. And I really, really wish the camera had done it all justice, you guys. She shone with a light. It was so beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, it's good, Deborah. I think that's what's, the important part of connecting with people that are not like me and sharing her story, because the message really is we are all in this together. And when people say, I'm doing so much for her, it's being reciprocated by her family, my ancestors back to me. So what I'm giving, I get back more than you would ever know. And she has brought us together, the TokiTV team, and she's continuing to bring ancestors, are bringing all the right people in the path. And it Alejandro, you'll love this. We're going to start walking in a different way because we believe and there's hope. Mm-hmm. And the next tears we have are going to be of overwhelming joy as she's home.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are so strong. You are so strong, Raynell, and you are the chosen one. Ancestors, chose you. So you are our leader. And Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut knows about it.
Hi, Scarlett.
So grateful for you. Last night, Chairman Hilaire was there, and you invited him up to speak. Is there anything you want to say before I play that?
Well, I was just so grateful and honored. I can't even tell you how many invitations I've extended to my council. And, I've always given it as a disclaimer. You don't have to commit or sign anything or spend any money. Just come listen, come learn. This isn't my story. This is part of our late Chief Salich's legacy. It's about correcting the past so that we can walk together better in a happier way in the future. Come listen, come learn. And yesterday was historic in the sense that my tribal chairman took my invitation and came, not only himself, but his 2 young daughters so they could learn. And his youngest came in carrying a stuffed Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. And they were so excited to go to the podium with their dad. So it was just the most perfect way to end the weekend.
Here we go.
Night's wild. Salish Sea, TokiTV, TokiTV, Sat, Chuck Lemison, Nukshisan, Squil-le-he-le, Quanas, Natasha Latias Wild. Good day, my dear friends and relatives. My name is TokiTV. My name is Satsimton. I come from Lummi, and I'd like to thank you all for being here on this day. This is my daughter, Valley, and my daughter, Wilder. And we just came here today. We had it in our heart to stand with our elder, our mentor, our leader at Lummi Nation, Raynell. And we just can't thank you all enough for taking the time to be here, to raise awareness, to raise funding, to make sure that we're on the right track with what needs to be done, because this is not just about bringing a whale home. This is about our family. This is about healing. This is about making sure that no one's going to take our children away from us again. And we just want to thank you. And you know when you're in the presence of a leader, when you feel hope on your heart. And today we feel hopeful because of the leadership of our relative here, Raynell, somebody who took the directive of our late chief, which was a directive from our ancestors to not stop, to never stop what you feel is on your heart that needs to be done. And it's because of her never giving up, never stopping, that we are here today. And we just thank her from the bottom of our hearts on behalf of the Lummi Nation, on behalf of this place that we all call home. We're just so thankful. Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. Thank you all for being here today.
Wow.
Wow.
He said
Amazing
it.
words.
Beautiful statement. So well deserved. Thank you, Raynell.
Thank you.
Well,
He
it's
said
so
it all. You have
important.
hope. You give us hope. It's like we feel it from you. It's wonderful.
Well, his words, go far beyond the Lummi community. His passion and compassion for what he says and for his work is really important that he was able to share that. I was so honored.
No one will ever take our children again.
Yeah, that was the part that got to you. Yep.
So this final song right now that you chose, it's called Fanfare for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's Family Reunion. Is there anything you want to say about that before we play this one? This one's it's a short song.
Well, one of the choir members, Mark, wrote this. So it's an original song written for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut. And he wrote it, he said, envisioning everyone gathered standing at the water's edge as she swims in the water, the Salish Sea, for the first time.
We'll be there.
I'll be there.
So long away from your heart and your home, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, always away home. There is a way from where you are to home.
Bravo.
Yes. That was heartwarming. That definitely filled my spirit. Beautiful. Beautifully done.
Well, what you felt in the church there, the way, you know, it didn't come across as powerful as it was in person. There were parts, everybody was stomping their feet and just they're calling out her name. And I could just see the music traveling, calling out her name to her and her delight, just happy, her family happy. We were happy.
It's so beautiful that they wrote that. It's just so, that's beautiful. And you do feel it, you know, you see them pounding and you could just feel it, you know, because you're just, we do that every week. We do that twice a week. Actually, we envision ourselves standing at the shore when she's brought home. And, you know, Alejandro and I are going to go take ballroom dancing lessons or something.
Yes.
Some sort of dancing. We're going to do a lot of
We will plan something.
what a gorgeous event. Thank you to the Bellingham Unitarian
Yes.
Church, and thank you to the choir of the Salish Sea for doing this. Super important to highlight this for so many reasons. Like I said, just about the education and the spreading awareness, and Raynell telling who she is so that people can relate to her. I'm going to say that again. It is important that we relate to her for who she is, and she is her culture. And thank you for sharing that. And hearing the story from her family, about her family, is so important. And we will keep doing this, and we will keep spreading awareness. We will keep doing this, and this just goes to show that, you know, these people had this idea of what they could do to contribute, you know. And so if you know people that you know, share this, because really this is what it's all about. There were people probably in that church that didn't know. There's someone who's going
No,
to see this video in a week that doesn't know. And so whatever your gifts are, whatever your talents are, that you can share to raise awareness, to raise funds, to educate people, just to tell who she is, please do it. Please do it. Please do it, and keep spreading that encouragement for people to stay positive and not give up, and to keep praying for her, because that's what she needs. And so thank you, everyone. Again, we're going to put the GoFundMe stuff up. Please share it. Let's go around the room and just before we close, gosh, right now, I love you, and we all love you. Just thank you for who you are, and for your contribution today and every day. We're blessed to be family with you.
I'm humbled with all the love and support.
I pass my word to Alejandro.
Just, I'm going to say, hi, Renee.
Yes.
Kiss me. So much kiss. For Rainel too, for Rainel. Rainel, kiss.
Yes. And the four-legged are with us too.
No, thank you so much for everything you have done and you are doing. You really are an inspiration to me and to everyone right now. To be honest, it's the truth.
I love you.
Me too.
Christina?
Just thank you so much for all the hope. That was a beautiful ceremony. It was very moving, and the end was just, that was the perfect song. I can't believe they did it. I felt the energy. I definitely felt the energy, and it was just amazing. It was just wow. So just thank you for the hope. It's there, and we're gonna get her home. Yes, she is well. She is whole. She is home. 2023.
Yes. Yes.
It will be.
Deborah?
Just my heart's so big and open and full. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful I got to be there. huge Haishka to my husband who drove me there for the 2 days and helped our sister up and down the podium. It was adorable to watch him with her. And to you, Annette, for taking my mumbo jumbo of videos and making it something beautiful for everyone to share and to see. And thank you.
Deb Cruz.
When Chief Salish cleared that pathway for you, he cleared it for you and those of us who are walking with you.
Yeah.
Love you, lady.
Love you.
Of Deb Cruz. Howard.
I have so much to say. When I first found out that Raynell, you were at the table, you were in the circle, you were part of the decision making, that gave me hope right there. I knew you would bring the knowledge of Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut as your relation, and that you would carry that into that whole process. And I know you have. And what has happened today, what we've seen today from the past 2 days in Bellingham just showed me how, yes, you bring us hope. You bring us the assurance that Toki is well represented. She is well thought of, and that you give her the strength and the spirit and the culture that she deserves and that she is, and everyone can see that from hearing it from you. So I so appreciate that. That is who she is. And I think back of the years and years and years and decades that she faced every day. She went out and she did those routines, and nobody knew anything about her. But she knew. She always knew. She always knew who she was, and she knows now. And now she feels from you and from us that we know. We know who she is, and we appreciate her for her strength and her spirit. And I think that is just so important, and that resonates into this spiritual power that will bring her home. She is home.
She is coming. She is coming home.
Yes,
Haishka, love you, Howie and Susan.
she's here.
Love you, Susan.
I saw a hand. Hi, Susan.
I'm looking. Oh, it's beautiful. What an event. Oh, on every level.
Right now, I'm gonna let you close us out. And just so you guys know, we'll play. It's a very, very short clip of one of the last songs, but to close with. But right now, I'm gonna give final words to you.
Well, part of the message that I was given in working with the choir of the Salish Sea was, you have to continue to share who she is, to share what her life has been through and where she's going. She's coming home is where she's going, and it's going to take all of us together to make this happen. So it will be. And from now until when she's home, sending her the love, the positive energy, and the prayer has to continue is a critical part of her being able to make this journey home. She needs that. And so I put that call out. Keep it positive, keep it prayerful, be hopeful, believe. It will be. I see it.
Love you so much, everybody. Have a good week.
Go, Lisa. Lolita home. Bring Lolita home. If you knew all she's been through, leave the girl alone. Sing Lolita home. Sing Lolita home. Sing Lolita home. Sing Lolita home. She's been gone away too long. Bring Lolita home. Help is coming, though the hour is late. So save you from your twisted fate. Storm down the walls and tear down the gates. Bring Lolita home. Bring Lolita home.